Hi, I'm Barbie Pickett, and I'm a longtime friend of Jennifer Winter. She asked me to talk with you a little bit about a news story that occurred at Taylor University in Indiana. I graduated from there in 1996, and it was a really positive, formative place for me. I will say I don't know any of the people involved personally, but I've read about this news story as reported by Religion News Service and other sources. So the news story is about Professor Julie Moore, who teaches English and also directs the Writing Center at Taylor. She's an associate professor. She has decades of teaching experience and has received positive reviews. In early May, she was informed that her contract would not be renewed. When she asked why, she was told that it was because of the readings on racial justice that she assigned in her course, her composition course. And in particular, a quote from Dr. Jamar Tisby that she included in her syllabus. Dr. Tisby is the author of The Color of Compromise, which is a book that describes the history of racial issues in Christian denominations in the United States. Here are some things I remember from my time at Taylor. One of them is the Life Together Covenant. That was something we had to sign, and it had rules, but it also had an approach to living in community with other people, as the title tells you. One of the things I remember about that I liked and still try to practice was an approach to conflict resolution that asked us to take things to people directly, to be direct and to address things privately first and then with other people if necessary. But it gave a good model for open, clear discussion of points of disagreement and a way to seek to resolve those. And that seems like quite a contrast to what happened in this story. Another clear memory I have from being at Taylor was coming into the chapel when there was a really popular speaker on campus, and I saw the president of the college, Dr. Jay Kessler, sitting on the floor in the aisle because it was so full, and that example of servant leadership really sticks with me, and also seems to be a contrast to what happened in this story. A third memory I have also involves Dr. Kessler. He would give the same chapel address on student visitation days every year. And so if you went to chapel like you were supposed to, you heard this one several times. Maybe that's why it sticks with me. He would talk about how we don't have to be afraid to learn and study anything, and how the information, the academics that you would learn at Taylor would not be different from what you would learn at a secular school. That we don't need to be afraid that anything we discover about the world God made will be a threat to him or to our belief in him. He would say we don't need to be afraid that something will jump out from under a rock and eat God. And that openness and that approach to learning is something I really valued at Taylor. And that also seems like a contrast to what happened in this story. So I thought and prayed about how to respond to what happened here. And so these are some of the ways I've found to respond. One is that I pray that the truth will be clear and that the Taylor administration can respond in a way that demonstrates humility and grace and a way forward. I think that would include an openness to looking clearly and objectively at what happened, and to being open to repentance and change. I would be glad to see that happen. The decision to end Professor Moore's employment appears to have been made in an abrupt way that left little opportunity for understanding or a mutually agreeable solution. I know there are two sides to every story, and that personnel issues are especially complicated. I have some supervision responsibility in my job, and I know that people sometimes leave meetings or employment-related conversations with a different perception of what occurred than I have. So I know that's complicated, but this has been reported by several sources and seems to be credible. So in looking at how this story affects me, it makes me really sad. That's not the environment I remember at Taylor. Taylor University was a place where my understanding of Christianity was broadened and strengthened because I had the chance to interact with people from varied backgrounds who expressed their love for Jesus in different ways. I also pray that when my daughter is looking for colleges in a few years, that we'll be able to find places that cherish both Christian faith and diverse voices. I pray that there will be places where a diverse and faithful community exists, and that the church and Christian institutions will learn better ways to navigate the divisive climate that we're currently in. I also want to try to maintain perspective. It's really easy to approach the story by thinking that if those people would just do things the way I think they should do them, everything would be better. And I have to remember that the history of the church has been complicated all the way back to Acts. I wish that I could have seen more of how Peter and Paul resolved their differences and maintained unity. It is just hard for us to understand what God tells us because he's so much bigger than we are. And it's even harder for us to put it into practice. So while I know there are times when the church's actions make Jesus sad and angry, I also know that my own actions don't please him a lot of the time. And that I'm probably not even aware of all of the ways that happens. So I'm not better than the people that I disagree with, but I do want us all to be better. I do want us all to pursue justice and to try to help support that happening however I can. One thing that helps me maintain perspective is to maintain relationships with people from different political backgrounds, including people that I know from Taylor who have developed very different political perspectives. That really helps me remember that there are really, truly kind, caring people on both sides, and that we can still find common ground. Most of all, I pray that the church will be able to show and tell who Jesus is and make his love clearer to a world that really needs it.